Welcome back to Corporate Crime Dynasty. Before we dive in, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you never miss our deep dives into the shadowy worlds of criminal empires. Sydney, a dazzling city of gleaming skyscrapers, beautiful beaches, and vibrant culture. It's a hub of opportunity, innovation, and global business. From the Opera House to Darling Harbour, Sydney shines as one of the most admired cities in the world. But behind the lights, behind the glamour, there's another side, a world of power, corruption, and family dynasties that operate in the shadows. Beneath the surface of Sydney's success, some families have built empires of crime, blending legitimate businesses with drug trafficking, corporate fraud, smuggling, and money laundering. They've passed control from generation to generation, using fear, influence, and cunning to stay untouchable. In this countdown, we're revealing the top 5 richest criminal families in Sydney, their estimated net worth, how they built their shadow empires, and the impact they left on the city. From the streets to high-rise offices, these families show how crime can hide in plain sight, and how money, power, and influence can corrupt even the most iconic places. So get ready, this is Sydney like you've never seen it before. From Patingal to Karam, each family has a shocking story of power, wealth, and criminal genius. In this countdown, we reveal the top 5 richest criminal families in Sydney. Number 5, the Patingal family. Net worth, estimated $250 million. The Patingal family, originally from Melbourne, became one of the most infamous names in Australian organised crime before expanding operations into Sydney. Starting as a working-class family, they initially ran small legitimate businesses. But their influence grew rapidly through connections in local politics, underground networks, and street-level criminal activity. In Sydney, the Patingals leveraged their reputation to build a multi-layered enterprise. Their operations stretched from small-time extortion to large-scale drug trafficking. The family's patriarch, Kath Patingal, became legendary for her ruthlessness and strategic mind, keeping rival gangs in check and ensuring the family remained untouchable for decades. The family's notoriety attracted media attention, painting them as both feared and respected figures in Sydney's criminal landscape. Over time, the Patingals transformed from a notorious Melbourne family into a shadow empire with far-reaching influence across Sydney. The Patingal family's criminal empire revolved around drug trafficking, extortion, and protection rackets. They controlled key distribution networks for methamphetamines and cocaine in Sydney's suburbs, working through trusted lieutenants and street-level operatives. Extortion became a core income source. Businesses unwilling to pay protection fees faced vandalism or violent reprisals. Whispers suggest that the family's network extended into legitimate industries, using restaurants, nightclubs, and transport companies as fronts for laundering drug profits. Money laundering was sophisticated. Cash flowed through shell companies, property deals, and offshore accounts. The Patingals also invested in Sydney's nightlife and hospitality sector, creating legitimate-looking revenue streams that masked criminal profits. Their influence wasn't limited to crime, it reached law enforcement and local politicians. Bribery and intimidation ensured that investigations stalled or disappeared entirely. In some cases, rivals were quietly eliminated, solidifying the family's grip on Sydney's underworld. Kath Patingal's leadership ensured loyalty through fear and family ties. The Patingals were untouchable due to deep connections with corrupt officials and a reputation for ruthless retaliation. Their political ties allowed them to influence zoning, contracts, and even minor police decisions. Intimidation tactics, ranging from threats to violent demonstrations, kept competitors at bay. Informants knew that betrayal meant exile, jail, or worse. Even as police investigations began to intensify, the family's web of alliances and loyal operatives enabled them to stay one step ahead. Their multi-generational structure meant leadership was never concentrated in a single vulnerable figure, creating resilience against law enforcement. The Patingal family began to lose power after several high-profile arrests in the early 2010s. Several members were convicted of drug trafficking, extortion, and violent crimes. However, many assets remain hidden, and family influence persists through loyal associates. Despite legal setbacks, the Pettingils continue to shape Sydney's criminal economy. Rumors indicate that younger generations are re-establishing old networks while maintaining legitimate business fronts. Sydney's law enforcement still monitors the family, but whispers suggest their shadow influence lingers across the city. Number 4. The Moran family. Net worth, estimated $180 million. The Moran family is notorious for their involvement in organized crime networks, particularly in gambling and money laundering. Originating from Melbourne's underworld, the Morans expanded their influence into Sydney during the late 1980s, leveraging criminal ties to build a profitable empire. Their legitimate ventures, such as small-scale restaurants and retail businesses, served as covers for gambling dens, loan sharking operations, and underground casinos. The Moran name became synonymous with both fear and financial cunning in Sydney's criminal circles. Family members maintained tight control over all aspects of their operations. Leadership passed down through a combination of bloodline and earned respect, ensuring the organization remained cohesive and disciplined. The Moran family's criminal network revolved around illegal gambling, money laundering, and high-stakes extortion. They operated clandestine poker games, sports betting rings, and underground casinos throughout Sydney. Profits were laundered through legitimate businesses and offshore accounts. Restaurants and retail outlets acted as fronts for cash movements. Loans to businesses and individuals carried high interest rates, often enforced through intimidation and violence. Members of the Moran family were also connected to rival gangs and international crime syndicates, enabling smuggling operations for contraband and facilitating illicit currency exchanges. The network was so widespread that Sydney's underworld often deferred to Moran authority to avoid violent conflict. Political connections and corrupt law enforcement ties helped the Morans avoid prosecution for years. Informants feared retaliation, which allowed illegal operations to continue unimpeded. The family's reputation for swift and brutal enforcement of rules ensured loyalty among associates and instilled fear in rivals. Their network acted as both protection and enforcement mechanism, making the family almost untouchable. Legal interventions in the 2010s led to multiple arrests, convictions, and asset seizures. Despite this, the Moran family continues to exercise influence indirectly through trusted lieutenants. Rumors persist that younger family members are reclaiming the family's former gambling and money laundering empire. Number 3. The Kane family. Net worth, estimated $140 million. The Kane family made their mark in Sydney through construction, real estate, and property development. Ostensibly legitimate, these ventures allowed the family to build wealth while concealing illicit activities. Over the years, the Kane name became synonymous with shady property deals, offshore investments, and financial manipulation. The family's rise to power relied on blending legal and illegal operations seamlessly. The Kane family's schemes included construction fraud, money laundering, and corporate embezzlement. Fake invoices and shell companies disguised massive money movements. Construction contracts were inflated or fabricated, allowing the family to siphon funds from projects and public infrastructure deals. Their operations extended into rental property schemes, manipulating leases and rentals for profit. The family also invested in hospitality and entertainment ventures to launder money, maintaining a facade of legitimate wealth. The Kanes relied on political influence, bribery, and legal loopholes to protect their empire. Lawyers and accountants played key roles in creating complex structures that obscured illegal profits. Intimidation of competitors and whistleblowers was standard. Reputation and fear ensured minimal challenges to their dominance in Sydney's property sector. Number 2. The Mervisic family. Net worth, estimated $120 million. The Mervisic family became prominent in financial services, entertainment, and hospitality. Initially running legitimate enterprises, the family gradually expanded into fraudulent financial operations, money laundering, and controlling high-value venues. By the early 2000s, the Mervisics had cemented a powerful presence in Sydney, blending luxury lifestyle businesses with illicit activities, making them one of the city's most influential criminal families. The family specialized in financial fraud, embezzlement, and high-end money laundering. They manipulated entertainment venues, casinos, and luxury hotels to funnel illicit money. Complex offshore structures and shell companies concealed wealth, while associates ran day-to-day operations. Victims ranged from investors to business partners unaware of the fraudulent schemes. The Mervisics operated like a shadow bank, moving millions across accounts, masking the illegal origins of their funds. Political connections, sophisticated legal frameworks, and loyal associates allowed the Mervisics to stay ahead of authorities. Fear and influence in Sydney's business world kept rivals and whistleblowers quiet. Investigations in the 2010s exposed fraud in hospitality and entertainment sectors. Several family members were arrested, with some assets frozen. Yet, their shadow network persists, and the family remains influential in Sydney's high-end financial operations. Number 1. The Karam family. Net worth, estimated $100 million. The Karam family is notorious for large-scale smuggling, illegal import-export, and corporate fraud. Operating through family-owned businesses, they created a complex web of legitimate and illegitimate operations spanning Sydney and beyond. Their reach extended into import-export ventures, luxury goods, and specialized logistics, allowing them to conceal criminal operations under the guise of legitimate trade. The Karam family orchestrated smuggling rings for contraband, tax evasion, and corporate fraud. Cargo shipments were manipulated to hide illegal goods, including luxury items and black market merchandise. Shell companies and offshore accounts disguised the financial trail. They leveraged legitimate shipping and logistics operations as fronts, creating a layered network that made detection by authorities difficult. Political and law enforcement connections helped the Karams evade prosecution for years. Threats and financial incentives ensured that associates stayed loyal, and competitors were neutralized quietly. Their sophistication and secrecy made them one of Sydney's most untouchable criminal dynasties. Authorities finally exposed smuggling and fraud networks in the late 2010s. Some family members faced charges, but much of their wealth remains hidden. The Karam family continues to exert influence through international logistics and trade connections. Sydney is a city of contrasts. Glimmering skyscrapers, pristine beaches, and thriving businesses sit alongside shadowy dynasties of crime. From the Patingals to the Karams, each family wove together legitimate ventures with illicit operations, leaving a lasting mark on the city. While some family members faced arrests and asset seizures, their networks and influence continue, demonstrating how money, power, and corruption intertwine in ways that challenge law enforcement. These families highlight the dark side of ambition, where loyalty, fear, and cunning perpetuate empires behind closed doors. The legacy of these dynasties is both a cautionary tale and a reminder that even the most admired cities have layers of hidden criminal activity. By understanding their operations, the public can appreciate the complexity of organized crime and the importance of oversight, regulation, and accountability. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Sydney's criminal dynasties, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Corporate Crime Dynasty. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Who surprised you the most? Which empire shocked you? Stay tuned for more investigative stories as we continue to uncover the secret worlds of crime families around the globe.